Superhero movies are without a doubt the most successful genre in film. They entertain us with spectacle nothing else can match, and they empty our wallets while doing it. But here's something I've never been able to shake off. Almost every superhero movie that makes it to those greatest of all time lists is missing one thing. Yes, The Dark Knight is a masterpiece. Yes, Infinity War is a spectacle for the ages. They intrigue me, they amaze me, they entertain me for 2.5 hours straight, but none of them inspire me. Not one of them makes me feel like I could actually rise above my own struggles. If anything, they make me feel the opposite. Helpless, like I need someone stronger, smarter, richer, or more godlike to save the day. And if it's not one person, it's an entire team of them. So here's a question worth sitting with. What if the hardest thing a superhero ever had to do wasn't lifting a building or sacrificing half the universe, but simply figuring out what he actually wants out of life? What if the hero wasn't the billionaire in a metal suit or a literal god, but just some dorky kid who can barely make rent? That's Spider-Man 2. And more specifically, that's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, a version of the character so quietly powerful that over 2 decades later, people are still asking the same question. Why does this one still work? I'm obviously not the first person to talk about it, but it's a film, a character I hold close for 3 reasons. 1, nostalgia, sure. 2, because its themes hit something almost universally human. And 3, because underneath the tights and the web slinging, it's just a damn masterpiece of storytelling.
Pizza time.
Released in 2004 and directed by Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 2 picks up exactly where the first film left off, following the real consequences of being Spider-Man on Peter Parker's personal life. He's constantly torn between fulfilling his responsibility and chasing what he actually wants out of life, all while facing off against an 8-limbed villain consumed by his own ambition and desire. Spider-Man 2 does things most superhero movies today simply don't attempt, and it doesn't just attempt them, it nails them. Take Danny Elfman's score, for instance, criminally underrated to this day. In my opinion, it's the best superhero theme ever written, and not just because it sounds incredible, but because it's an accurate representation of the character. And honestly, this is exactly what I believe every superhero theme should strive to achieve. The opening of the theme reflects Peter's humility, his quiet, unassuming character. Then it shifts into his powers, capturing the sheer wonder behind them. Some parts perfectly bottle the raw energy of Spidey swinging through the city. A whole section of it is actually Doc Ock's theme, and yes, this part changes with every film, depending on the villain. Another section channels Spidey's perseverance, his determination to save others no matter what it personally costs him. And finally, the ending, which brings everything back down, reminding us that under the mask is just a regular person, with hopes, dreams, and people he loves. The fact that the theme dedicates so many distinct parts to the different sides of Spider-Man, the person underneath the mask, his powers, even his enemy, is what allows certain moments in the film to shine even brighter. Take this moment, for example, when Peter finally returns as Spider-Man after getting his powers back.
Spider-Man was a hero. I just couldn't see it.
Listen closely, and you'll notice the music plays a variation of the exact section from Spidey's theme that represents his powers.
He stole my suit! He's a menace to the entire city!
Then when he's swinging through the city, the music swings right along with him. And to top it all off, there's this transition into Doc Ock's theme that's both visually and musically perfect. Genuinely perfect. You could turn the screen off, just listen to the scene, and you'd understand exactly what's happening in the story. Another thing this movie does brilliantly with its score is use it almost constantly. During a quiet conversation, a fight, an important character moment, it's always there. And because of that, the score becomes familiar to us, comfortable even. So whenever it plays, we feel at ease, which is exactly why when it suddenly stops, it hits differently. Take, for example, the hospital scene where the surgeons are trying to remove Doc Ock's arms. The lack of music in this scene makes it cold and full of dread. The image alone, these tentacle-like mechanical arms protruding from an unconscious body, lifelessly killing everyone in the room, is more terrifying than most things I've seen in actual horror movies. It's an entire scene dedicated to making Doc Ock a genuinely scary villain, which, again, isn't something most superhero movies even attempt anymore. But Dr. Otto Octavius isn't just a terrifying villain for Spider-Man to fight. There's a surprising amount of depth to his character, and more importantly, he becomes a critical obstacle for Peter to actually overcome in this story. See, while the first film centered around the theme of responsibility, Spider-Man 2 is really about choice, though you wouldn't know that from the first half of the movie, and that's a brilliant decision because it makes us share in Peter's own belief that he has no choice at all.
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man, given a job to do.
It's his responsibility to be Spider-Man, no matter the cost, his career, his education,
Get it done, or I'm failing you.
how people see him,
You've turned the whole city against him.
A fact I'm very proud of. Now,
his friendships, even where he's able to live. But above all, it costs him the one thing he wants most in life, a real relationship with Mary Jane.
I'm seeing somebody now.
Oh.
The responsibility he's been handed is exactly what's keeping him from the life he actually wants. On the other hand, we have Dr. Octo Octavius, a brilliant scientist Peter's assigned to write a report on, and someone who surprisingly shares Peter's exact belief that our strengths aren't just gifts, they're responsibilities we're meant to use for good.
Intelligence is not a privilege, it's a gift. And you use it for the good of mankind.
He's everything Peter aspires to be. Someone who's fully dedicated to his responsibility while still having the person he loves standing right there beside him.
If you keep something as complicated as love stored up inside, it can make you sick. I finally got lucky in love.
But as Peter keeps losing Mary Jane bit by bit because of his life as Spider-Man, he starts losing something else too, his powers. His responsibility is consuming everything he holds dear, and now it's starting to consume even him. But Octavius isn't just who Peter wants to be. He's who Peter wants to be taken to an unhealthy extreme. In a way, Octavius is like an exaggerated version of Icarus. Icarus built wings. Octavius built 4 mechanical arms. Icarus flew too close to the sun. Octavius went a step further. He tried to create one himself.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
But just like Peter's responsibility, it too consumes everything Otto holds dear, and eventually himself, only this time quite literally. Doc Ock is a version of Peter who stops at nothing to fulfill his responsibility, a version who abandons his own humanity just to achieve his dream.
crazy scientist turns himself into some kind of a monster. 4 mechanical arms welded right onto his body. Guy named Otto Octavius winds up with 8 limbs. What are the odds?
And while Doc Ock vows to fulfill his dream, proving himself to be Spider-Man's toughest challenge yet, things, somehow, are about to get even worse for Peter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you all to know that the beautiful Miss Mary Jane Watson has just agreed to marry me.
Losing the one thing he wanted most in life doesn't just cost him his powers, it cost him the desire to even be Spider-Man at all.
Maybe you're not supposed to be Spider-Man climbing those walls. You always have a choice, Peter.
I have a choice.
Peter starts to reevaluate everything, his life, his choices, and what responsibility really means to him through an imagined conversation with the one person whose words shaped him most, Uncle Ben.
All of those times I counted on you to have the courage to take those dreams out into the world.
I can't live your dreams anymore.
It's in this moment that Peter finally realizes something. He never actually wanted to be Spider-Man. Not like this anyway. Not to the point where it's tearing apart his own personal life. It just happened to him. And up until now, he hasn't really been doing this for himself at all. He's been doing it out of guilt. Guilt over Uncle Ben.
Take my hand, son.
He never stopped to think about what he actually wanted.
I want a life of my own. I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
No more.
In this scene, he's not giving up, he's doing the right thing. He's letting go of his guilt and, for the first time in a long while, becoming his own person again. And because of that, we get one of my favorite montages in film, Peter finally getting to focus on school, take things slow, and just embrace who he is. The choice of music here and the way it's edited, especially in the extended edition, does such a fantastic job of capturing exactly who Peter Parker is. Dorky, cheesy, but wholesome to his core. And honestly, it'd be a crime not to mention that the extended edition also gives us this one extra, joyfully random jump. But back to the story. Peter's finally pursuing what he wants, but he can't quite shake the worry that he's making the wrong call. He still feels that pull to help others, even powerless, even at his own risk, and he's afraid that pull will always stand in the way of the life he's trying to build. Meanwhile, as Doc Ock inches closer and closer to achieving his dream, Peter feels further and further from his own. But maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most.
Peter tries to shift what he wants, from a life alongside Mary Jane to becoming New York's hero instead. I'm back! I'm back! But that doesn't work either, because deep down, he isn't being honest with himself. As noble as being a hero for the sake of others sounds, it still isn't what Peter actually wants.
I want you to find your friend, Spider-Man. Tell him to meet me at the West Side Tower at 3 o'clock. Or I'll peel the flesh off her bones.
He can't want something out of guilt. He can't want something purely for the sake of others either. He can only truly want something when it's for himself. And in order to get what he wants, Peter has to become Spider-Man. After getting his suit back, we're given one of the best action sequences in the entire genre, not just because Spider-Man fights the villain, but because of what he does in the process. He saves people. And I don't mean inadvertently some background extras who happen to survive off-screen while the camera stays locked on the fight. I mean he actually, visibly saves people. That kind of focus, heroes actually saving people on screen in real time, is yet another thing most superhero movies today have quietly stopped doing. In the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, Spidey is constantly saving everyday New Yorkers, people of every age, which makes this version of the city feel genuinely alive. New York here isn't just a backdrop, it's practically its own character, right alongside Peter, Harry, and Aunt May. The civilians aren't just obstacles cluttering up an action scene. They're there to lift the hero up, to interact with him, to matter. And in the end, Peter doesn't stop Doc Ock's plan by simply beating him into submission. He stops him by reminding him who he really is.
It's my dream.
Sometimes, to do what's right, we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams.
And just as Octavius finally lets go of his dream, Peter lets go of his too.
I think I always knew.
And you know why we can't be together. Spider-Man will always have enemies. I can't let you take that risk.
After finally letting go Mary Jane, Peter is able to make a choice, for the first time, truly for himself. He chooses to be Spider-Man. But in letting her go, he also gives Mary Jane something just as important, the freedom to make her own choice.
I know you think we can't be together, but can't you respect me enough to let me make my own decision? I love you.
And with that, Peter finally gets what he's always wanted, the chance to live out his responsibility with the person he loves standing right there beside him. Thanks for watching.